guys, it's Jenny Wolek with the Wolek Group, Keller Williams Realty in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Thanks so much for coming back for the journey, and I'm super excited to talk with Jeff Quinton about all his agent success secrets. Jeff, I just got tongue-tied on that. Jeff, we just met recently in person for the first time, and yes. I don't know about you, but I felt like we were instantly BFFs.
We are, for sure. BFF, FF, forever.
We connected. We're buds.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
just a good time.
Maybe being on the same panel is what happens there. So, hey, tell everyone where you're from, how long you've been in business, all the good stuff you got going on in your quick little bio here.
Sure. So my name is Jeff Quintin. I live and work in Ocean City, New Jersey, which is in the southern part of New Jersey along the coast. And primarily our hub market is a resort vacation investor market, more or less. So it's a small market. It's like 7 miles long by a mile wide. And then we've expanded with our expansion teams in Philadelphia, the suburbs of Philadelphia, Cherry Hill. We've launched a new agent in central Pennsylvania, Lancaster. We have an agent in Delaware. We now have a new agent we just brought on about less than a month ago in Orlando. So we're continuing to expand mostly along the East Coast, and then also kind of concentrating into the Philadelphia market region as well.
Well, how are you determining which direction and what city you're going to with all these expansion partners?
So, I mean, we're looking strategically to stay kind of a close by area at first, you know, within driving and a few hour distance of the hub, but yet with the right partners, we'll go to the partners instead of the location if we're set up. We'll do that as well. I mean, like right now, we've agents in Austin that may want to come on and we're talking to in Southern California. We'll consider that. We're being more, I would say that we're more hyper focused to the East Coast, just the fact that where people are moving from around here, so let's say from the Pennsylvania, New Jersey area, most of them are moving to the Carolinas or Florida for retiring, especially baby boomers. So if we can make the connection of the two from Northeast to Southeast, you know, that's an easier experience and more natural.
Yeah.
So we're kind of aligning right now in that kind of area, more concentrated. But when we look at the bigger vision, for sure it's to go wide versus just vertical.
Yeah, well, that makes lots of sense. Well, something that you talked about when we were together on the South Florida Mastermind panel, you talked about the importance of mastering your morning. I actually took down some notes from your portion there. So why don't you share with everyone just how you train your team and yourself in your mindset in mastering your morning?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things that in the culture of our team is we're very prospecting and lead generation based, and we understand that as far as that activity is concerned, we're going to do this in the morning. So we're coaching and training and making sure that our morning is tight, right? So everything that we're doing, and that's everything from starting the night before, making sure that our numbers are prepared, making sure that we're set up, we're getting to bed early, you know, we're preparing so that the next day is there. So we're preparing there, number one. Number two is many of our agents have accountability in the morning by going to the gym and having saying their affirmations or writing goals down or journaling down or chanting scripts, or they're doing all kinds of crazy things in the morning. I mean, there's 3 of them that are on the 5 a.m.ers club, which is a big club now that people are on right now, which is good. So they're preparing their morning to before they get into the office, you know, to lead generate. So everything from what they're eating to what they're saying, the ride to work, we're getting to listen to podcasts, reading books, audiobooks, all that built up good mindset, getting your skills, training there. And like, for example, you know, one thing we coach on is that we got to make sure that our mornings are media free. So not listening to talk radio, not listening or watching the news, you know, all the stuff that most people are doing. You know, they're listening to all the negativity. We're making sure and coaching them on like, hey, look, let's not be involved in that. Let's make sure that we can take between the time you wake up until 12 noon is absolute money time. And so that's all we really concentrate or ask for is like, okay, let's perfect that and make sure that you're doing the right things. And we know that if you do that, everything else will be taken care of.
Do you do that?
For sure. I did it. Yeah, I still do it. It's a little bit different from what I used to do in the role, but yeah, I mean, it's I got to do it because it's what I preach, you know?
Right. So how is your morning adjusted or switched a little bit due to your different role these days?
My role, I'm still prospecting. I'm still lead generation, but for talent most of the time and in the morning. So I actually am out of the call center or hub prospecting areas until I get in at noon. Once kind of that's when my meetings and 401s usually start to hit. And the reason why that is that I want it to operate without me being there, right? So I want their skills to be at that level. When I'm here, they're leaning on me a little bit too much, and I want them to function without me to get that, to understand that. And when I'm here, I get pissed off if they're not saying the right script, or I get involved in too much of a coaching when I shouldn't be at the time. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm like, no, go back, call them back again, ask this question, like, you know, like in their face, which is good, but yet at the same time, it's a time and place for it.
Yeah.
So
they need to fail through it on their own.
They do. And for me to get in that at that moment doesn't allow me to grow the company for the other things I'm providing and opportunities. So that's my one thing, is that wanting to do certain items, like there are one things to lead generate.
You know, I'm just going to go a little deeper on this, because I think a lot of agent friends that are going to watch this are maybe in that early days of team building. And I remember, and I've been through it recently as well, I just had to realize that I needed to get out of their way.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so what advice would you give to those that are in the growth, you know, of building a team, and they just keep getting too into the detail, into the micromanaging? What would you say to them?
Schedule more time away. I mean, you know, with you and I schedule with masterminds and group or travel and stuff like that, and teaching, and so I'm doing more of that. So it forces me to get out of it. You know, what my focus was this. I'm working more on it than in it than ever in my whole entire. I've been doing this a long time. So I've been doing this since 1992, right? So it's 26 years, right? So and I had been running, you know, with production and everything till probably 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. And I was fortunate enough then to lock in and get a listing partner to take over my listing side. And Dave was a rock star and help me pull out of it. And at first though, you know, it was obviously me 100%. And then it was David in doing 25%, and then it went 50%, and then it went me 25%, and him 75%. And then, you know, in like the last basically year or whatever, I'm out as far as that's concerned on the listing side and so forth. That's his baby now. So it takes time to do that. So finding the right talent. But what I noticed was that, or what I know is that, you know, by me not, so right now my goal is to coach, train, mentor, right? And be about helping them be the best they can be and helping them develop themselves, personal development with the team and growing it. And when I'm in the production side and doing what I was doing all the time, I was actually robbing them from opportunity and all the intellectual like knowledge I have. By me being in it, I was never able to take the time to pour in what I know back into them to make them better. So it's always like me doing my thing, them doing their thing, and then we connect every now and then. They would do their, and I would just always, you know, be doing my thing. Now it allows me to really pour into them, and I'm watching these agents really take off. So it's just a different role.
I think that's what what's been my challenge. Earlier this year, I let go of the listing and the buyer side for our team because I was holding us back. As soon as I got out of their way, we're going, you know, our production is up 30% this year. And it gives me such great joy to know that my portion is so small of that. And I'm able to, like you said, work on the business instead of in the business. So you mentioned an agent failure plan. What is this about?
Yes. So it's interesting. I mean, so I'm looking through and a list, and actually, like we do everything, I kind of stole it from somebody else at one time and kind of, you know, ripped it and duplicated it and made some changes, put my name on top of it or whatever, but everything rings true. But it's something I just presented to our team on our Tuesday meeting. I said, you know what, here it is, guys. I said, you must accept the fact that if I show you a complete failure plan, that if you do all these things, you're going to absolutely fail. So let's look at the things that if you do this is what you're going to be out of the business. And let's understand that by doing these, you're out, but yet if you do the opposite, you're in, right? So, you know, so there's a whole list of this, and I'll provide it and send it to you so the audience can kind of see. But, you know, they give you some examples of what this means, right? So we take a look at, I'll give you something very similar. Like I wrote down here, and I'll hit on a couple of them, random one here. You know, one just basically just says, you know, it says number 4, come in late. You always can catch up later in the day, right? So, you know, if you could come in late for work and you continue to do that, and you think, oh, I'll just make it up. Never going to happen. Never make it up, right? Same thing with contacts, right? So if an agent's goal is, okay, my goal is 30 contacts I'm going to make today, and I only make 24, and they say, you know what, I'm going to do the 6 I didn't do today and the 30 I'm supposed to do, so I'll do 36 tomorrow. Do you really think that ever happens? No. So all of a sudden, after time, they're just missing out, right? So that's number 4. I'll write down, again, here's number 6. If you can't get your 3 hours of prospecting done per day, just push it off another day. You can always have extra time later, right? Like failure plan, right? You're not going to make up the time. Don't think and kid yourself that, okay, if I only do 2 hours a day, I'm going to add on and do the other 100 or other hour. It just doesn't work. So it's a plan that we go through, and I'll give you another one. Number 11, assume everything, especially with market data. There's no reason to be specific or even corrected for that matter. Prospects won't know what is true anyway. Just say what you need to say to keep them working with you, right? Our agents, I talk about knowing the market, right? Knowing market data, knowing the stats, understanding and getting, in certain neighborhoods, average price point, average days in the market, number of listings taken for the month, number of sold, absorption rate, right? So if you're not going to learn that, you're going to fail right out of the market. And this is what agents are, many times do. They just thought, you know what, I don't need to know the market. I'll just keep, I'll talk my way out of it, right?
So this is a funny way you're twisting it, because clearly nobody chooses to fail. And so you've twisted it by saying, hey guys, do this, you're going to fail. This isn't one of those like funny little fail forwards. This is how you are not successful in real estate.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get one to see. And my team's is good at a lot of these. However, the other day I said, here's the failure plan, right? I said, okay, let's go through this one by one. We went out loud. Number 1, I must accept the fact that I'll fail by ignoring written goals for success. Like, okay, so I'm saying, which one of you guys, if I said, show me your goals right now, do you have them on you? Are they in your pocket? Where are they? Right? Like, I said, many of you are failing, not writing down your goals. You say you have goals, right? I say them every year. Write a check to yourself for the amount of income you want to earn and date it for December 31st and keep it with you, right? Show me your check. None of them. I have mine in my wallet right here, right? It's all ripped up. Look, it's a mess.
Okay, so tell me what numbers on that tag.
2.5 million.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
Can you see it? Where am I at? Here. So, I mean, it's already ripped up, right? Like, so, written goals, right? So, anyway, it's like you're going to, part of this, if you don't have written goals and you don't think this is important to you, you're going to fail. Okay. Here's number 3, agents fail plan. Pay very little attention to tracking your numbers. They're just for the broker anyway. Okay. If you're not going to check your numbers, you know what I mean? Like, and most agents are very number challenged, Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, I can't help grow when you guys don't track your numbers correctly and report them. We're really we're monitoring this so much. I had an agent the other day on our 401. I said to her, okay, let's take a look at your business plan for 2019. We're starting business planning and all, right? And I said, we looked at your 3rd quarter ending in whatever it was, September. I said, let's look at your numbers. I want to know that right now we have our planning advance meeting the 7th. I said, we're all going to go through and know exactly our numbers and ratios. I said, so let's go ahead and look at yours again. So you're prepared for the meeting. I went through and it says, I think it was something like 286 contacts to a listing taken. I said, well, looks like to me as you went on this many, you've talked to these many people, contacts. Here's how many listings you've actually taken. If I divide into the 2, it's taking you 286 to get them. No way, that's not right. No way, the numbers, my ratios are way lower than that, right? Blah, blah. I said, hey, look, I'm not arguing with you. The numbers which you're telling me and reporting, if it's garbage in, it's garbage out. So based upon this, like this year you're at 20 some deals, right? And you want to do how much next year? I want to do 40. Good. Then that means you need to stop making, right now you're averaging 24 transactions or 24 contacts a day to get to your 24 deals. Well, now you have to do 60 contacts to get to 40. Are you willing to make 60 contacts every single day? Well, no, I can't do 60. Then you're not, okay, then stop. Then you're not going to hit your goals for next year. Just don't even put 40 down. Just keep doing what you're doing. Now I want to make more money. Well, your numbers are telling me different because you pay very little attention to tracking them. So what do you want to do here, right? So again, okay, that's part of why agents are failing. They don't know their numbers. They're not tracking it, right? So, I mean, I don't know. Here's number 24. Keep your ideas for processes and systems improvement to yourself. If you speak up, you might have to do extra work, right? Like we're looking at little things like that. Use your downtime in the car to zone out. You deserve some time each day to be mindless. Sure, you can read an audiobook per week if you wanted, but you can't give up all your fun and enjoyment, right? So these are all the little things that just drive us nuts, and I think that's a failure plan. So we just coach around this right now and make sure that, hey, look, don't do these things. Do the opposite.
It sounds like you made this list from experience.
Sure.
Have you seen this over time? This is what agents choose to do.
Yeah.
Do they like hearing this from you?
No, but I mean, they know it's the truth, and I guess sometimes when the truth hurts, sometimes it's like you don't like it, right? But as a leader, do I want to be everyone's best friend? No. I mean, I gotta. It's unfortunate. It's confrontation, right? And I wouldn't be doing my job if I'm not going to bring these up to them and say, look, this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that every time you guys should be reading or listening to a podcast or plugging in, or you're missing a mega camp or family uni event or whatever, like you're not plugged in investing in yourself, right? I need to confront them about that and ask them, hey, are you going to, and that's part of our culture, right? So are you plugged in or not? So it's an interesting plan.
Yeah, well, I like it. So are you feeling any kind of a shift in your market or your many markets that you're in?
Some of the markets, yes. Our standard home-based market, seasonal shift it is. Otherwise, not a lot. We didn't really have in the Jersey Shore market a whole lot of a big run-up. We're still in a 2003, maybe 2004 valued market where our market actually peaked down in 05. So we haven't hit back and exceeded where many markets hit their peak values and went even past that. We're still below that. Our inventory is down. The higher end market is there's low inventory, but over 2 million is not selling as much. So we're seeing a seasonal shift. We might start to see a little bit of a shift. I mean, some of the properties are sitting more days in the market, but it's also seasonal. So I don't know if it's a shift because of that or if it's actually hit us yet.
Yeah, and I don't think we'll know yet. However, you are a survivor of the previous big shift. So what advice or strategies or tips would you give agents that are already feeling it? I think
there's a lot of them. Yeah.
What would be some advice that you would give to your fellow agent friends?
So some of the advice I'd give is more than ever, you have to, there's going to be a couple things here. One is your skills are going to really show, right? So if a lot of these agents haven't experienced this, right? So it's kind of like riding a bike. And if you're riding a bike uphill, but you've got a tailwind behind you, it's a lot easier, right? If you're riding a bike down the street and you got tailwind, it's smooth and it gets going. But your leg strength is going to start to kick in when there's no tailwind, right? So you all of a sudden there's no tailwind. Now you're riding your bike, right? But your leg strength isn't there. So all of a sudden you start getting weaker. So more than ever, you got to strengthen the skills you have when there's no tailwind. And what does that mean? So it means you got to learn your scripts. You got to learn what to say. You got to learn the objection handlers. You got to master your morning and make sure you're prospecting. What you're doing right now, as far as whatever your goals are, you got to double down on it, right? So whatever you expect your goal to be, double it to get the same result. So skills is a huge thing. The agent with more skills will win, and you're going to become much more desirable, in this market. Those agents have skills. Number one. Number two, what's really, really, really more important, so important, is you've got to study and know the numbers and become a market expert. You've got to really know every single thing about the market you're in. Back when the market was going crazy. Now, so for us, from 2001 to 2005 is when our market was just going right up to the roof, and it was just nuts. It was going 20% a year appreciation. We were flipping properties. Obviously, I'd close at somebody on a Friday, and we could reassign the contract or close and sell it on Monday and make 50, 60 grand. Wow. New construction was huge. We'd have guys come in, putting them under contract before it started to be built, and then when it's built, flipping out and make 100 grand a unit. It was nuts, right? Because the market would just go way up 20% a year. So literally in 4 or 5 years, you could double your money. So if you bought something for 300, it was worth 6. You got 300 worth 7. That was quick. So when the market was going crazy like that, none of the agents or any of us really cared about the numbers. We didn't have to. we only had about, at the time, maybe a 1 month to 2 month supply, right? So the numbers we weren't paying attention. Well, I specifically remember it was in September of 2005. I went on a surf trip to the Maldives, like an 11-day trip. So I go out of the country, and from the time I left and when I came back, the market had shifted within 10 days, 11 days. And what I mean by that, it went from like what was already under contract, things were falling out, new construction, people were already saying I'm backing out of it, want my deposit back and canceling out. And then that happened all throughout the fall. By January of 16, the market then started to shift and went down. It was declining by 2% a month, every month. And so it wasn't until then I said, oh boy, I got to really get deep to see what's going on with the numbers. So one of the things that we did was, now I was involved at the time in 2006 between my own personal developments and clients I was representing. We had 83 new construction deals coming onto the market that year, right? And by the way, our sales price was $700,000, so we had a lot, right? Like a lot of inventory coming on. And we also had a lot of other inventory that was already under contract that were being built for that following spring that buyers backed out. Long story short, the conversation then shifted with the sellers when the shift happened with declining values is understanding on how you can start to predict and understand for a seller where the market's going, where the price would be over time. So one of the things that we did was obviously you studied, okay, we wanted to know how many homes are active for sale in a specific market, how many listings came on for the month, how many sold for the previous month, come up with the absorption rate. And that's meaning, the number of homes left over, if none were sold, how long would it take to sell them all off? So we started studying that, and then we put a graph together and showed, for example, if the seller, and say it was January of the year, let's say the seller thought the home was worth $500,000. We said, well, here's the challenge. It's declining right now. The market's declining by 2% a month. So 2% is what, 10 grand, right? Yeah. So we'd actually show a graph and say, okay, well, in February, the house is worth 490 and then 480. And then it would just be a graph that went across the year, month by month. So we'd have a graph in front of them and we'd say, okay, look, you need to be at least 3 months ahead of the curve. So if you really want to sell your home and be ahead of the 2% declining month, price at 465, right, or whatever the number is. And if you price there, it'll sell now. If you price it at 500 where you think it is, you're just going to be chasing the market downward. And then we'd show them. So basically, we'd show them a graph and say, based upon when you want to sell, the price point and time frame, pick the number, right? And then they would just always listen to us because we're a market expert and looked at them. We could just show them what was happening. So that's one of the things I would recommend in a shift. Learn the numbers, and then once you learn the numbers, you can start to see the trend, and you can start to forecast out where it's going, and then become that expert in the market, and the agents will choose you.
Yeah, and like you already said, by being the expert and improving your skills, and if you read this book called Shift by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, there are actually scripts and language to use for our clients inside of that book. I mean, just by you used a phrase. Do you want to chase the market? Do you want to be ahead of the market? And people, whenever we talk to our clients in that language, we sound and we're there to help them.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Jeff, we got all the way into our conversation. I never even had you share your production. What are you guys going to end up at this year? And then what's your big goal going to be for next year?
So we're number one is we're working on some of the big goals based upon expansion and what we're going to do for next year. So it's not 100%. I know where it should be and what it's going to be, but there's a lot of things that need to be put in place. Currently this year, with the team we have right now, and we have a couple new ones coming on. Anyway, we'll probably end up around 250, 260. We're at like 228 right now. Probably end up depends on what we do in the next 2 months, 250, 260 range. So we're in 85, 90 million range. Our goal was 300 and 100 million. We're not going to hit that. With the new agents we brought on, we would have hit it, but again, that's a little late in the game. But next year, our goal is, as far as in the expansion world and just expansion in itself, is that we want to have 20 expansion partners, each doing 2 transactions a month, 480 transaction business. So that's about like we're 7 expansion partners now, so we need an additional 13. So it's going to be more like bringing on maybe 3 gross a month, 2 net to get to 20. And so if we get there by end of 2019, that'll be just 480 transactions just in that side of expansion, plus at least 300 in our hub. So we're talking about a 700, maybe 800 close to transactions next year, which would be pretty awesome. But it's going to take some growth and bringing the right agents on to make that happen.
Jeff, what drives you? You go and you go fast. What is it? What is it?
I don't know, man. You know, what's interesting right now is I'm doing it a long time, right? So it's something new for me, right? So I'm re-energized, like, you know, because I'm in production and selling real estate a long time. So, you know, really the reality for me is like, the last thing I ever want to do, I mean, you should see this text message I have right now with the seller today, knucklehead seller. So, I mean, like, let me just share this. Let me share.
Okay.
Okay. This guy, he wants to list his mom's condo with us right now, right? Anyway, and we're like, no, he wants to cut our commission right now. No, we do it at 5%. I'm like, dude, no. Like, I wrote back to him, you can negotiate on a Hyundai, but not a Rolls, right? Like, I'm going, and it's all back and forth on text, right? So he's a guy that I've been known in my database forever, and he's just being cheap, right? And he went, oh, another agent will do it 5%, blah, blah, blah. Writes me back, just do it at 5.5. Then it's still higher than the other guys, and I can save face saying I got a discount. It won't matter in the end when and if I get a sale done. Like, you know, like, so the thing is this. It's like, the last thing I really want to do, I don't want to go out on a listing appointment ever again. Like, really, like, the guy says to me, well, you did the deal at 5%. I'm like, dude, if you keep this shit up, like, I'm going to charge you 8. Like, I got no interest in work, you know, like that. And it's probably not the best for the seller, but so what drives me now is building something bigger than I ever have, right? It's driving me, this is a whole new energy, right, that I've been in. For me to go on another listing appointment again, like, I don't have that as much as I like to and used to. I like making deals. But so that drives me, you know, financially driven. You know, I have 3 daughters. I have a goal to move to California when my youngest daughter is 18 months now, by the time she goes to first grade, and have expansion teams set up in Southern California and in Jersey, like, or East Coast, or bi-coastal markets. So I've always been financially driven, and you know, that's something that is important, to be able to build a big life and build a big business for my kids to be able to take this thing over at some point if they want to. You know, that's what's driving me. I mean, it's interesting because we talked about this earlier about not being in it, like you and I not being pulling away from the business. Here's the question I had for my CEO last night. We all flew our entire two expansion part, whatever it is. 3 of them didn't go because they're new, but 14 of us, I took them to Greg Harrelson's office in Myrtle Beach yesterday, right? So we went down and shadowed him, and then had a mastermind all day, and then happy hour, and came back all on the same day. And I had Jill there on my team and Scott there, and had a conversation at the bar. And I said, listen, what did they say? They said something like, me not being in the office, right? Like, it's good you're not there because we want you to go build this thing big, because if you're there, we're going to hold you back. Like, they're totally supportive. But I said to them, let me ask you a question. God forbid the plane goes down by myself, right? I walk out in the street, get hit by a car. What happens to this team? Does it survive? Does it keep going? What happens? And we're like, they didn't know. I asked Scott. He goes, I think we can make it all work. I said, well, do we have enough in the team that's gonna drive the sales, enough leadership, coaching, training? Who's going to be and step up for that, right? Like, or does it just go away? Does it leave? Like, all this we built, 26 years in this database and the systems, who's going to write the $30,000, $40,000 check a month for admin or for overall costs? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who's going to step up, right? And Scott's like, well, listen, looks like I'll become really BFF with your wife. I said, for sure. She'll step in and make sure this thing runs. But you know what? This is what we're building. So build it where I'm not here. Let's build it where I'm not involved, which is relying on me to be there. So that's driving me too.
I love that perspective and way to think about it. I think we should all ask ourselves, what happens if I'm not here? And that would really get us to look deep into our team and current situation, wouldn't it? So
because it's either we have a job or we have a business.
Yeah.
Right?
We trick ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. So
Well,
that's what's driving me now, is to build something like that, and trying to figure it all out.
well, I appreciate you so much for sharing so much good stuff here. I'll get that failure plan from you, and I'll share that with everyone in your journey with Jenny. And thanks, Jeff, for joining me.
Of course, it's great to be on. It's a pleasure. Good to see you.
Great. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, if you guys need anything from me, my number's 918-706-9845. Have a good one. Bye. Bye, Jeff.
Thank you.